Of the chessboard, Rizalino is like that prime foraging ground. It's the most fertile, most open space. Think of the pieces. Your knights, your bishops, your rooks, even your queen. Where do they have the most reach, the most influence? Rizalino considered this. From the middle, they can go in more directions. Precisely, Batslife exclaimed, a rare spark of animation in his usually reserved demeanor. A knight on the edge of the board controls far fewer squares than a knight in the center. A bishop, similarly, has a wider sweep of the board from the central diagonals. When your pieces control the center, they're like bats flitting through a rich, insect-filled sky. They have access to more opportunities, more targets, and more avenues for attack and defense. Now consider a bat's most vital tool, echolocation. Batslife continued, his voice dropping to a near whisper. They send out sound waves, and by listening to the echoes, they create a detailed map of their surroundings. They know where obstacles are, where their prey is, where their fellow bats are. He gestured to the chessboard. When you control the center, Rizalino, you are essentially establishing your own echolocation. Your pawns and pieces in the middle project their influence outwards, giving you a better map of the board. You can anticipate your opponent's moves, identify weaknesses, and plan your attacks with greater precision. If your pieces are scattered on the edges, you're like a bat trying to hunt with dulled senses, unable to truly see the opportunities. And what happens to a bat that strays too far from the group, too far from the prime foraging ground? Batslife asked, his gaze sharpening. It becomes isolated. It's harder for it to find food, and it's more vulnerable to predators. It loses the collective strength and awareness of the colony. He pointed to Rizalino's side of the board, where a few of his pieces remained undeveloped on the back rank. When your pieces remain on the periphery, or when your opponent dominates the center, your forces become fragmented. They can't support each other effectively. They become isolated, much like that lone bat. Your king, in particular, will find itself more exposed without the protective cloud of your pieces controlling the central squares. Batslife then made a series of rapid moves, his pieces flowing into the center, establishing a dominant position with effortless grace. Rizalino watched, mesmerized, as his own pieces suddenly seemed stifled, their movements restricted. The goal, Rizalino, Batslife concluded, leaning forward and meeting Rizalino's gaze directly, is not just to occupy the center, but to control it. To establish a